welcome to Amit Sharma, CBSE. Happy Gandhi Jayanti to all of you. On this day, 2nd October, we talk a lot about Mahatma Gandhi, don't we? We often remember his struggles that he made for the emancipation of our country. The kind of struggle he did, the kind of lesson he gave, the kind of principle he presented for us, and the way he motivated, the way he encouraged us to stand up and fight for our right will be remembered forever. And that is why we leave no stone unturned to pay our sacred homage to this immortal soul. So you guys must have heard a lot about Gandhiji. But today in this video, I'm going to present a story from his book, My Experiments with Truth. Part 1, chapter number 8. And in this one year, we are going to know about stealing and atonement. Yes, you heard right. Gandhiji stole something in the age of 12 or 13 something, probably less. He stole and he confessed in a written way, and he made great resolution to give it up. What did he steal? How did he confess? We are going to know in this story, right? So you know what, in the age of 12 or 13, along with one of his relatives, they became fond of his smoking. Neither they saw anything good in smoking, and nor they got tempted to get that. But they were loving to create smoke of clouds from their mouth. And uncle of Gandhiji had that habit. And whenever they saw him smoking, they always tried to copy the way he was smoking. So that is why they started stealing a stump of cigarette thrown away by his uncle. So initially, sometimes they found some thrown cigarettes, sometimes they could not find. So in order to purchase Indian cigarette, they started stealing coin from servants' pocket. Yes, Gandhiji stole coin from servants' pocket in order to buy some Indian cigarette. But when they purchased, the main task was how to hide it, because they were not able to smoke in front of elders. But they purchased and they smoked and they enjoyed. But later on, they realized that they are committing the sin. They are doing something like a heinous crime. And they decided to give up, and even though they decided to commit suicide for this crime. Can you believe it? He smoked, and when he realized, he thought to commit suicide along with his relative, the one who was also with him. So they had heard about dhatura seed, probably found in some forest. They went into the forest, they looked for it, and they found it. And when they found that seed, and they thought that evening will be the auspicious time to commit suicide, and they went into the Kedarji temple. At the time of evening, they did the puja, and they prayed a lot. They did the worship as well, and they were about to eat those seeds, but again a thought came not to commit suicide. That will be not be the independence and emancipation of that thought. But in order to thinking these kind of things, they ate 3 seeds of dhatura, and they dared not to take any more seed. So in order to diminish the thought of suicide, they went to the Ramji temple, where they prayed and they made strong resolution to give up smoking. You know, they thought that committing suicide is not as easy as one contemplate it, as one imagine to do it. It is rather hard task to commit suicide, right? So later on he gave up it, right? And since ever he had been grown up, he had never desired to smoke and had always regarded the habit of smoking as a barbarous, dirty and harmful. He had never understood why there was such a great rise of smoking throughout the world. He could not bear to travel in a compartment full of people smoking. He became choked. So whenever he found somebody was smoking, he got really choked, right? So after a couple of years, once again they made a big stealing. You know what did he do? He stole a bit of gold out of his meat-eating brother's armlet. This brother had run into debt about 25 rupees, and later on he got rid of from that debt as well. Then he decided at last to write out a confession to submit to his father and ask for forgiveness. You know, when he did realize that he had made great crime, then he took decision to confess in a written way and asking for forgiveness for his father. He wrote it on a slip of a paper and handed it to him himself. In this note, not only did he confess his guilt, but he asked adequate punishment for it. So you know what, when he wrote that confession letter, he went to his father and placed the opposite side where his father was lying. You know, he was thinking for punishment, but when his father took that piece of paper and wrote, you know what happened? Drop of tears came out from his eyes. And he said that, he said nothing, he was feeling emotions, right? And Gandhi said that if I were a painter, I could draw that scene, what kind of feeling his father had. He forgave. And that time, Gandhiji learned the lesson of ahimsa from his father. So, this kind of things Gandhiji did in his life, right? And this sort of sublime forgiveness was not natural to his father. He had thought that he would be angry, say hard thing, and strike his forehead, but he was so wonderfully peaceful, and he believed this was due to my clean confession, a clean confession combined with a promise never to commit the sin again. When offered before one who was the right to receive it, the purest type of repentance, and he knew that my confession made my father absolutely safe about me and increased his affection for me beyond measures. So dear students, this story will definitely teach you something. If you have made something crime, if you have made something big mistake, you have still chance to confess it. You have still chance to repent on it. Confess it orally or a written way to your parents. They will definitely forgive you. And that sublime and unprecedented forgiveness of Mahatma Gandhi's father made him more invincible. So on this day, I just wanted to tell this story. My story has ended, but I strongly believe it has given you a lesson. Yes, Gandhiji stole, but he realized, he confessed in a written way. He asked even for punishment from his father, and his father forgave, and he believed that Gandhiji was in safe zone. So my dear student, Gandhiji has given an umpteen number of lessons of life, and this is one of them. Think upon it. Be true to your parents. Till then, take care of yourself.